Imagine driving slow through brand-new neighborhoods where streets gleam under the relentless Florida sun, manicured lawns stretch endlessly in geometric perfection, sparkling turquoise pools reflect cloudless skies, and pristine model homes shine with untouched appliances still wrapped in plastic. But not a single soul stirs anywhere. No kids racing bikes down cul-de-sacs. No barbecues smoking with weekend gatherings. No garage doors opening at dawn. No lights flickering warm at dusk. Just eerie, suffocating silence, blanketing thousands upon thousands of empty homes, forming modern ghost cities that mock the very foundation of the American dream. This isn't dystopian fiction, some forgotten Midwest Rust Belt casualty, or hurricane-ravaged destruction zone. This is the Sunshine State in 2025, where pristine subdivisions across Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Ocala, Port Charlotte, Orlando, and Palm Beach County stand as chilling monuments to a spectacular, multi-billion-dollar miscalculation. Vacancy rates hit a staggering 38.7% in Southwest Florida, the worst concentration in the entire nation. In Cape Coral alone, over 14,500 homes now sit listed for sale, a number not witnessed since the catastrophic aftermath of the 2008 crash. Behind swaying palms and pastel sunsets, behind the tourism brochures and retirement fantasies, a perfect storm brews with devastating force. Institutional investors flooded the state with wildly speculative builds betting on endless migration waves, only for skyrocketing insurance premiums, climate fury, and a vanishing buyer pool to turn paradise into a suffocating financial trap. According to Bloomberg data, institutional home sales dipped from 7% to 6% of total transactions as brutal reality crashed the speculative party, leaving inventory piles unseen in over a decade. The Wall Street Journal confirms property insurance premiums soared a crushing 34% post-hurricanes Helene and Milton, with statewide averages climbing toward $15,460 annually by year-end. In this comprehensive deep dive, we'll systematically unpack the institutional frenzy that built these ghost grids, the insurance apocalypse crushing affordability into dust, the demographic exodus abandoning Florida dreams, and the devastating economic fallout reshaping entire communities from prosperous hubs into hollow shells. Stick around, because this intel could save your real estate future from becoming another cautionary tale. Hit subscribe to Housing Intel and ring that notification bell for weekly data-driven breakdowns that cut through the hype and protect your investments. The haunting emptiness hits hardest at dawn, when aerial drone footage reveals sprawling grids of cookie-cutter homes stretching to horizons, half the lots still raw dirt amid idle construction cranes, faded for sale signs bleaching under humidity, streets built for thousands carrying dozens. Developers who poured billions into land acquisition and vertical construction now face the brutal, undeniable truth. They built relentlessly for a demand tsunami that simply evaporated. From Fort Myers' endless canal mazes to Ocala's paused outskirts, from Orlando's overbuilt suburbs to Palm Beach luxury spec disasters, these aren't temporary market slumps or seasonal dips. They're symptoms of systemic collapse unfolding in real time right now. The mirage of demand. Institutional overspeculation unleashed. It started with a gold rush disguised as genius investment strategy. When pandemic lockdowns suddenly unlocked remote work fantasies throughout 2020, Wall Street descended on Florida like starving sharks to fresh chum. Institutional investors, Blackstone-style giants, aggressive hedge funds, sprawling REITs, snapped up raw land tracts at warp speed, then green-lit developers to blanket every available acre in cookie-cutter subdivisions. By 2022, They accounted for nearly 7% of all single-family purchases statewide, fueling a construction boom that added tens of thousands of new units annually with reckless abandon. Building permits exploded across every metro. Cape Coral alone saw new construction starts double year over year. Ocala tripled its entire housing pipeline, betting on endless retiree hordes flooding in. Florida single-family permits showed an 11.7% decline in the first 8 months of 2025 compared to the same period last year, with monthly authorizations dropping to 13,594 units by August. Multifamily starts dropped by a staggering 60% year-over-year in 2024, plummeting from 12,303 units in 2023 to just 4,933. Builder confidence, measured by the National Association of Home Builders Housing Market Index, crashed to 32 as of June 2025, reflecting shattered optimism in the face of brutal oversupply. But here's the devastating pivot that crushed dreams and portfolios alike. The "build it and they will come" fallacy imploded spectacularly and completely. Actual absorption rates cratered as active listings ballooned from under 2,000 to over 4,000 in key Southwest Florida markets, with homes lingering 95 to 150 days on market, more than double national averages and triple pre-pandemic velocity. Zillow research flags the brutal disconnect. Median prices peaked at $480,000 in Cape Coral against local median incomes scraping just $65,000, creating an affordability gap wider and deeper than the Everglades themselves. Developers panicked hard, slashing incentives with desperation. $60,000 outright price cuts, free upgrade packages worth $30,000, mortgage rate buy-downs to sub 5%, paid closing costs, even throwing in luxury furniture. Yet units still sat vacant month after month. In Orlando, inventory reached a 6-month supply level, the highest in 14 years, with active listings up 24.5% year-over-year statewide. Median home prices in Orlando saw modest 4.7% year-over-year increases to $433,000 by July 2025, but velocity collapsed as buyers vanished. Take Cape Coral, the self-proclaimed Venice of America, boasting over 2,500 miles of residential canals. Post-2020 frenzy, builders flooded every available waterfront lot with overpriced McMansions, only to watch helplessly as active inventory quadrupled to nearly 4,000 listings by mid-2025. National Association of Realtors data shows sales velocity halved. Price reductions hit over 55% of all listings, with some desperate sellers slashing prices by $100,000 or more just to attract a single lowball offer. Fort Myers joined the carnage with over 14,500 combined listings, drowning the market. Ocala fared no better in this bloodbath. Its horse country charm lured starry-eyed speculators who permitted over 8,000 new homes from 2020 to 2023, now pausing a crushing 82% of all projects as construction cranes rust in Florida humidity. Institutional retreat accelerated the downward spiral. Sales to big money players dropped sharply throughout 2025, forcing funds to desperately dump holdings into an already saturated, oversupplied pool with no bottom in sight. Local voices echo the human wreckage left behind. Contractors laid off after decade-high construction booms now commute 2 brutal hours for occasional gigs. Families who relocated optimistically for high-paying construction jobs face foreclosures on their own overpriced home purchases. Strip malls near these ghost developments shutter weekly, their bright neon signs dark against empty parking lots, built optimistically for rush hour throngs that never, ever materialized. This wasn't organic, sustainable growth driven by real demand. It was algorithmic frenzy, Wall Street algorithms mindlessly chasing 2020 headlines while completely ignoring market fundamentals. The result? Endless ghost grids, where streetlights illuminate nobody. Model homes gathering thick dust behind velvet ropes. Dreams evaporating in humidity. But speculation alone doesn't empty paradise. The next silent killer lurks in your insurance policy fine print. If spotting these catastrophic overbuild traps early fundamentally changes your investment game, tap subscribe to Housing Intel now. We decode the data long before it costs you everything. The perfect storm, soaring insurance and climate risk crushes affordability. Forget the initial sticker shock of $400,000 median home prices. What truly breaks desperate buyers is the invisible tax exploding violently beneath the surface. Florida property insurance premiums rocketed a brutal 34% since late 2022, with statewide averages now $3,023, but surging relentlessly toward $15,460 by December 2025. In ghost epicenters like Cape Coral, Fort Myers, policies for modest $300,000 homes average $5,376 yearly, a staggering 248% above national norms, with mandatory flood insurance add-ons pushing total annual costs to $12,000 to $20,000 for canal-adjacent builds. Hurricanes Helene and Milton delivered the knockout punch. Over $100 billion in insured losses, 458,000 overwhelmed claims crushing carriers into retreat. Major national insurers fled the state entirely. Farmers, Allstate, Progressive all slashed Florida exposure dramatically, leaving desperate homeowners trapped in Citizens Property Insurance, Florida's crumbling insurer of last resort, now shrinking policies by 25% amid brutal 50% rate hikes for non-primary residences. Wall Street Journal analysis ties this directly to catastrophe models now forecasting 10 to 40% higher loss projections from intensifying storm patterns, accelerating sea level rise, and devastating inland flooding. Skyrocketing reinsurance costs passed straight through to consumer premiums without mercy. Construction cost inflation compounds the insurance crush mercilessly. Building materials surged 35.7%. Skilled labor costs jumped 20 to 25% since 2020, dramatically inflating replacement values that insurers bake directly into premium quotes. Homeowners association fees add another crushing layer, averaging $400 to $600 monthly in standard communities, but exploding to $700 to $1,400 in luxury waterfront developments by 2025. For retirees surviving on modest Social Security incomes around $1,900 monthly, these fees alone consume over 60% of their entire check before groceries, medicine, or utilities. Personal stories sear the devastating reality into consciousness. Retirees from Ohio scout seemingly perfect Port Charlotte waterfront villas, ideal for golden retirement years, only to recoil in absolute horror at $8,000 base premiums plus $10,000 flood endorsements, totaling $18,000 annually before any wind mitigation credits even apply. Young families touring pristine Ocala developments blanch and walk away when final quotes double their monthly mortgage obligations, jumping from $1,500 to $3,000 extra monthly, instantly pricing paradise beyond any middle-class mathematical possibility. High-risk insurance pools overflow with desperate applicants. Fort Myers multifamily properties report 16.7% vacancy rates as landlords simply cannot secure affordable insurance coverage, let alone generate positive cash flow or profit. Even supposedly safe inland locations like Ocala face new drought wildfire riders, with premiums climbing 40% over just 3 years, mirroring the catastrophic Phoenix insurance patterns. Cape Coral foreclosures surged to 106 properties in a single month, compared to 63 in Fort Myers, 37 in Naples. Clear evidence of homeowners drowning under unsustainable cost burdens. This isn't alarmist hype or media exaggeration, it's actuarial Armageddon rooted in hard climate data. Hurricane frequency increased 30% since 1990. Storm severity literally doubled, turning annual insurance policies into financial roulette wheels spinning against homeowners. Prospective buyers ghost scheduled property viewings mid-tour upon receiving actual insurance quote reveals, leaving bewildered sales teams staring helplessly at empty open houses week after week. Developers absorb catastrophic hits too. Utility hookup fees in Cape Coral top $30,000 per individual lot, plus massive insurance escrow demands, killing already razor-thin profit margins entirely. The double affordability squeeze, 7% mortgage rates plus $500 to $1,000 added monthly for insurance, completely evaporates Middle America's buying power, systematically hollowing communities where pristine infinity pools reflect absolutely nobody's joy or dreams. Yet, insured or not, the buyer blackout only deepens further next. Buyer, beware, shrinking pool, shifting priorities, and brutal demographic reversal. Florida sold America the irresistible dream: zero state income tax, endless golden beaches, and remote work paradise bliss. 2025 brutally exposes the mirage for what it truly is. Median home prices statewide hit $393,000. Miami proper, $630,000. South Florida value-to-income ratios crushing 5.7 times annual income. National average sits at 3.5. Early pandemic newcomers, 68% earning over $100,000 annually, dominated 42% of total sales with all-cash offers, but local workers and first-time buyers got priced into complete oblivion. The work-from-home paradox bites hardest where it was supposed to save markets. Tampa and inland safe haven communities now drown in unsold inventory as Zoom-dependent workers rethink the wisdom of hurricane disruptions, obliterating Wi-Fi, and power over trendy home offices. Demographic patterns reverse with brutal force. Retirees flee en masse under crushing HOA fees, averaging $700 to $1,100 monthly, property taxes climbing 12% yearly, and the previously discussed insurance Armageddon. North Port Bradenton, Sarasota region posts 23.7% vacancy rates as families abandon ship for Texas, the Carolinas, Tennessee, states where $300,000 buys triple the living space at half the total cost. Zillow meticulously tracks Ocala homes sitting 150 days on market with zero offers. Rental rates crashing 15 to 20%, signaling mass investor panic and retreat. The affordability chasm yawns impossibly wide. Local median wages stagnate around $65,000, while developers target $700,000 luxury spec builds for phantom buyers. Remote workers, initially promised endless sunshine and beaches, confront harsh reality. Frequent power outages post-storm, school quality consistently lags national benchmarks, nightmarish commutes to any jobs that survived the construction boom-bust cycle. Population growth slowed dramatically, despite Palm Bay's outlier 13.2% surge. Net outflows hit record levels as paradise priced exclusively for coastal elites and foreign investors. Communities hollow from within. Empty retail businesses board windows with plywood. Schools consolidate half-empty classes. Neighborhood vibrancy evaporates entirely, leaving ghost shells behind. Retirees facing special structural assessments of $12,000 to $18,000 per unit due to post-Surfside inspection mandates sell at $20,000 to $40,000 below asking prices just to escape spiraling nightmare costs. This isn't a temporary market dip or seasonal correction. It's a fundamental disconnect where asking prices mock economic reality. Turning hopeful subdivisions into investor orphanages nobody wants to adopt. For every seller desperately cutting prices, 3 buyers wait, calculating even deeper future discounts, freezing the market into paralysis. Want actionable intel to navigate this catastrophic buyer blackout? Hit subscribe to Housing Intel for exclusive coverage of the rare markets actually defying the doom. Economic fallout, black holes, policy panic, and the uncertain road ahead. Ghost cities don't just haunt. They actively suck economic life from surrounding communities like financial black holes. Infrastructure ghosts alongside housing. Roads engineered for 10,000 residents handle mere hundreds. Oversized sewer systems sit vastly underutilized. Schools echo with 20% enrollment drops as families flee. Cape Coral strip malls, optimistically built during boom years, shutter at 40% rates, creating revenue shortfalls that starve essential municipal services, mirroring Detroit's pre-bankruptcy vibes in disturbing ways. Construction unemployment spikes viciously as new permits crashed 82%, leaving 60% of previously active projects completely idle, creating devastating ripple effects through suppliers, subcontractors, and entire trades. Foreclosure filings climb block by block, with nearly 8% of mortgages now underwater and growing shares of owners unable to maintain payments under crushing cost burdens. Local real estate agents describe rising waves of short sales and distressed listings flooding already saturated markets, compounding downward price pressure. Policy scramble brews desperately in Tallahassee. State legislators float insurance premium caps, speculative building moratoriums, comprehensive citizens' property insurance overhauls, but endless litigation clogs court systems. Meaningful relief remains distant and uncertain. Developer desperation peaks with unprecedented incentive packages, aggressive rate buy-downs, full closing cost coverage, yet grim market projections scream another 20 to 30% price drops in oversupplied suburbs before any sustainable floor emerges. The multifamily sector flips dramatically post-2025. New deliveries plummet, exposing chronic rental shortages beneath the glut, while single-family markets correct brutally and completely. Coastal markets cool significantly. Inland areas eye cautious rebounds only if migration patterns stabilize. Watch Palm Bay and similar outliers closely for early signals. Florida's overall inventory stood at approximately 172,000 homes listed for sale at early 2025, a 22.7% increase from prior year, but absorption remains dangerously slow. Long-game perspective reveals complexity. Chronic housing undersupply lurks beneath current glut conditions, but ghost cities scream urgent warnings. Chase hard data religiously, never headlines or hype. Monitor inventory velocity metrics, premium cost trajectories, actual sales absorption rates. These signal true market turns before crowds react. Strategic knowledge sidesteps financial black holes while positioning smart investors for phoenix rises from these ashes. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage averaged 6.22% in early November 2025, a level that, while down from peaks, continues keeping financing costs prohibitively expensive for average buyers. Until rates drop substantially, or incomes rise dramatically, affordability remains crushed, ghost cities multiply, and the Florida dream stays nightmare for most Americans. From Cape Coral's endless canals to Ocala's horse country plains, from Orlando's suburban sprawl to Fort Myers's coastal disasters, Florida's ghost cities scream 2025 reality with deafening clarity. Institutional oversupply drowns pristine builds, insurance apocalypse suffocates ownership dreams, and vanishing buyers unravel the entire mythology. Home equity evaporates overnight. Young families crushed under 50% income to housing burdens. Retirees drowning in regret over peak purchases bought blind on hype. From coast to suburbs, no region escapes. Warning signs flash urgent red right now across every market. Your most powerful weapon. This data-driven intelligence dodges fatal traps, times market troughs perfectly, and hunts genuinely resilient rebounds emerging from ruins. Knowledge protects where hype destroys fortunes. Smash that like button if these ghost revelations chilled your spine. Subscribe to Housing Intel for relentless crash intelligence, Federal Reserve policy breakdowns, and comprehensive state-by-state market scans. Drop a comment below. Does Cape Coral or Ocala shock you most? Are you buying aggressively, selling desperately, or waiting patiently? We read every single response. Next breakdown. The rare markets actually worth millions in 2025. Because sometimes dodging complete doom proves the smartest investment decision of your entire life.